lesson 2.7, we're going to take a look at finding the change in percent and how we can use proportions and equations to find that change in percent. Your Common Core content standards are the same ones that we've been using. We are going to add NQ1, which talks about using units as a way to understand problems and to find the solution of multi-step problems, and choosing and interpreting units consistently. Okay, so, and also interpreting scale. So we're applying our knowledge of proportions and equations to different types of things. Your new vocabulary: percent of change, percent of increase, and percent of decrease. We'll talk about these as we go through the lesson. Your first type of problem that you're going to have is dealing with if percent increase and percent decrease. So if you take a look at this problem, it says determine whether the percent of change is a percent of increase or a percent of decrease. Then find the percent of change. So if we're talking about prices, let's say that this was the original price, $32. Okay, here's the new price, $40. The first thing they want to know, is this an increase or is this a decrease? Well, obviously it's going to be a percent increase. We are increasing this number from the original to the new. It's getting bigger, so it's an increase. And what they want us to do next, we want to find, well, what percentage is that? What percent of it is increasing? So here's what we're going to do. Okay? The first thing we need to do is we need to find the amount of change. So we're going from 32 to 40, and the amount that it is changing is 8. Okay, so what you're doing is you're taking 40 minus 32, and it's 8. That is your amount of change. Once you have the amount of change, we're going to go ahead and set up a proportion. Okay, and here's how you're going to set your proportion up. You're going to put your amount of change over your original amount. It is always over your original amount. Okay, it changed 8 from 32. Then your other proportion is going to be, what we're trying to do is we're trying to find your percent of change, and percent's always out of 100. Okay, you always have 100 here because percent is out of 100. So 8 over 32 equals R over 100. Now use what you've learned last lesson to go ahead and solve this proportion. We're going to do cross products. So 8 times 100 and 32 times R gives us that equation right there. 800 equals 32R. Then we're going to divide both sides by 32, and you get 25. So the percent of increase is 25%. Going from 32 to 40 is a 25% increase. Okay? Let's look at another example. Our original number is 20. Our new number is 4. So think of it again in terms of money. Let's say something's on sale. The original price was 20. The new price, it's on sale for $4. We want to know what is the percent of change. Well, first of all, this is going to be a decrease, right? 20 to 4, we're decreasing the number. So it's going to be a percent decrease. Okay, so let's, the first thing we have to do is find that change. Okay, it's a change of 16. 20 minus 4 is 16. So now we can use that amount of change and set up our proportion. Okay, our change is 16, our original amount is 20. So 16 over 20, and then again our percent of change is R. You don't have to use R if you want to use P, that's fine. And it's always 100 right here because percent's out of 100. Do your cross multiplication, simplify, divide each side by 20, and your percent of decrease is 80%. So going from 20 to 4 is an 80% decrease. Okay? Alright, you've got 2 check your progress problems over this type of skill, so go ahead and pause the video and try those. Okay. Again, we're doing the same type of thing here. Your original number is 20. Your new number is 18. We're getting smaller, so that's going to be a decrease. So let's see what you got. Here's your proportion. 2 came from your change. 20 minus 18 is 2. 20 is your original number. You're trying to find your percent of change out of 100. Okay, there are your cross products. Simplify. Then we're going to divide both sides by 20. And you get 10. So what that means is that is a 10% decrease. Going from 20 to 18 is a 10% decrease. Let's look at B. Now we're going from 12 to 48. That's obviously an increase. Okay? To find your amount of change, we need to subtract. So 48 minus 12 is 36. Okay? Do our cross products. Simplify. Divide both sides by 12. And you get R equals 300. So what that means is that is a 300% increase. Going from 12 to 48 is a 300% increase. Okay? All right, let's look at another type of application with percents and percent change. The price of a used bookstore pays to buy a book is $5. The store then sells the book for 28% above the price that it pays for the book. What is the selling price of the book? Okay? So let's take a look here. We're going to have S be the selling price of the book. And since 28% is the percent increase, that the amount that the used bookstore pays to buy a book is less than the selling price. So what we're going to do, we're going to take S minus 5 to represent our amount of change. Okay? Again, we don't know what that original amount was. So if we take S minus 5, that's going to be our change. Okay? Because we don't know what that price is going to be. So here's how we set up our proportion. Okay? This time they're giving us the percent of change. Okay, and we're trying to find what that original cost is right there. The bookstore cost is $5. That's what they've paid for it. That's what they're going to use. So S minus 5 then will be that change. Okay, so it's kind of like the other problem that we were doing, but we're trying to find something different. Okay, so we do our cross products. This is what we end up with. S minus 5 in parentheses times 100, then 5 times 28. We simplify. Okay, we do the distributive property here, 100 times S, 100 times 5. We're going to add 500 to both sides. We get 100S equals 640. Then we're going to divide both sides by 100. And we get 640. Okay, so what that means is the selling price of the book is $6.40. So they started at $5. That's what they bought it for, and then they're going to sell it for $6.40. Okay. Why don't you use that example and try and set up this problem right here? Okay. 26 is going to be your your original amount, okay? So go ahead and pause the video and try it. Okay, at one store, the price of a pair of jeans is $26. At another store, the same pair of jeans has a price that is 22% higher. What is the price of the jeans at the second store? Okay, well, let's take a look. Let's see how you set your proportion up. Okay, P minus 26, you could have used any variable there, J, okay, for jeans maybe. P minus 26 over 26. So 26 is kind of we're using as the original amount. This is your change right here. We can't find the change because we don't know what the other price of the pair of jeans is, what the new amount is. So we have to take P minus 26. Okay. And here's your percent change over 100. Okay, so what you're going to do, you're going to do your cross products, and this is what it's going to look like. 100 times P minus 26. Now you can have those two flipped, that's fine. And 26 times 2. Use a distributive property over here and simplify over here. Okay. Then we're going to add 2,600 to both sides, and you get 100p equals 3,172. Then we're going to divide both sides by 100, and you end up with p equaling 31.72, which means that those pair of jeans at the other store cost $31.72. Okay? Alright, let's talk about sales tax. A meal for two at a restaurant costs $32.75. If the sales tax is 5%, what is the total price of the meal? Okay, this happens all the time. You will use this all the time, maybe for tipping, okay, but there's usually always tax on something that you buy. So what we're going to do, we're not even actually going to use a proportion here. We're just going to go ahead and solve it. The first thing you have to do is find the amount of tax, okay? So what they're doing is they're taking 5% of $32.75. So we're going to take 5% of $32.75, which means 0.05. We got to change that percent to a decimal, times the cost of the meal. And what we find is that tax is $1.64. We're going to round up to the nearest cent. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to add that tax back onto the meal. So $32.75 plus $1.64. Your total meal then is going to cost $34.39. Okay? So your first step is to find the amount of tax. The second step then is to go ahead and add that tax back onto your whatever you're paying for. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and try this tax problem. Alright, first step, again, find the tax. So the CD player costs $69.99 and the tax on it, the sales tax, is 6.75%, which as a decimal is 0.0675. So if you multiply those two together, the tax on this portable CD player is going to be $4.72. So what we need to do then is we need to add it back onto the $69.99, okay, for a total cost of $74.71. So you're going to be paying $74.71 with tax. Okay. The last type of problem we're going to do are discounts. Okay, you've all gone shopping. There's always been sales. So let's try and figure out how do we find out what the actual price would be when there is a sale. It's exactly like your tax problems. The first thing you need to do is you need to find the amount of the discount. Okay, in this problem, the dog toy is 20% off. Okay, and the original price was $3.80. So we need to take 20% or 0.2 times 380, and that gives us 76 cents. So we're getting 76 cents off of the original price. So since it's a discount, we need to subtract it from the original price. So 380 minus the 76 cents is $3.04. So there's your sale price right there. Okay? All right, try example 4 here. Go ahead and pause the video. Okay, a baseball cap is on sale for 15% off the original price. If the original price of the cap is $19.99, what's the discounted price? Okay, so the first thing we have to do is find the amount that's going to be taken off. So to do that, we need to take $19.99 times 0.15, which is your 15%. Here's what you get, but we need to round to the nearest cent, and that 8 right there is going to tell that 9 to move up. So actually you're getting approximately $3 off. So that's what we're going to use, $3. So if you take $19.99, the original price, minus the $3 that you're going to get off, you're going to end up paying $16.99 for that baseball hat. Okay? All right. Write down any questions that you have, and we will cover it in class the next day.